On February 28th, Captain Charles Olaka Okola, the Operation Wealth Creation Coordinator Lira, abruptly halted a mid-morning work trip in Lira town and drove home on the edge of Dokolo town. Seated in the house's living room, Captain Olaka appeared pensive and restless at about midday, invited his 22-year-old son, Joseph Owinyi, who had remained at home.
He asked for a pen. His sons found him writing notes on a piece of paper in the sitting room. While seated in the compound, she later on heard the sound of gunshots. She rushed to the house and found him lying down and his head was shattered.
Owinyi later drove to Atama village, 7 kilometers away from town, to inspect a garden. An hour later, Captain Olaka asked his wife, Christine Olaka, who was engaged in kitchen chores, to give him a pen and paper. Whereas Captain Olaka's other children had gone to school that Monday to study, when he was driving back home from the garden and barely 150 meters away from home, heard the salvo of a gunshot. As he reached closer to their home, he saw a crowd that had gathered. Some of those who had rushed to the home were wailing as emotions ran like a fecal stream. His dad's corpse lay motionless in a pool of blood after a single shot fired in his head. Police officers attached to Dokolo Central Police Station rushed to the scene and secured it before taking the deceased body for a post-mortem at Dokolo Health Center 4. Police the following day revealed to the media that Captain Olaka committed suicide after he shot himself in the head with an AK-47 rifle assigned to him by the army. As part of the evidence sleuth relied on to draw this conclusion, Anatoli Katungwensi, the North Choga Region Police Commander, RPC, said the officer's wife, Christine Olaka, told police that she was shelling groundnuts in their compound when her husband returned home and entered the house saying he wanted to take a nap. Although he said that a suicide note was recovered near the body of Captain Olaka, he declined to divulge more details about its contents because it was a subject of investigations. NTV saw a copy of the suicide note and some notebooks confiscated from the deceased house a day after the incident. What the deceased revealed in the suicide note he authored before he died remains a subject of speculation. We visited the home of the deceased to inquire about the contents of the suicide notes. According to the notes, the deceased accused his workmates of witch hunt and attempting to frame him because he refused to be complicit in a graft deal. In the suicide note, Captain Olaka specifically accused his workmate, Patrick Alip, the current Lira District Senior Production and Marketing Officer, of attempting to frame him. So what happened? According to the account of family members, at the scene of crime, detectives picked Captain Olaka's body from the corridor between the living room and bedroom of his 6-roomed house. His body lay on his belly with his shattered skull spreading towards the bedroom. His left hand firmly gripped the rifle and the brain matter from his skull spattered the wall and beddings inside another room opposite his bedroom. According to call logs from the phone that was recently returned to the family, moments before shooting himself, the deceased called several people including his uncle, Colonel Simon Agong, one of his 7 sons and other workmates. Although Olaka shared the last telephone conversation with the deceased, no one could predict what was about to unfold. The deceased also made an impassioned plea with those he spoke to through a telephone conversation to rush to his house as he wanted to discuss a sensitive matter. Even when the deceased handed his ATM card for Centenary Bank and a bank book for Cairo Bank to his wife and asked her to take care of all his kids irrespective of their age and mother, minutes before shooting himself, she could not predict the tragedy that was about to befall the family. Family accounts of the deceased last month at work mirrored a life peppered with misery and frustration barely after he reportedly refused to endorse the fraudulent deals of the Operation Wealth Creation cartels in the supply of agro inputs. Miss Olaka claims that on the day he died, her husband, while weeping, narrated to her how his voice had been recorded by his workmate known as Alip and sent to State House to falsely implicate him and cause his arrest and torture.
He handed me his ATM card and the Cairo bank checkbook. He told me he might die because people had recorded him and took his voice to the president. In the suicide note, he revealed that the cause of his death is as a result of fights at the workplace.
Official documents NTV has seen indicate that between 2018 and 2019, OWC in Lira procured and distributed farm inputs, including planting materials, to farmers across the district. The deceased revealed in his suicide notes that his relationship with his workmates turned frosty after he questioned some of these suspicious transactions.
These pineapple suckers, the form showing that these suckers were distributed, and he told him, in your absence, we have already distributed what? These pineapple suckers. Because they always work together, he believed him, and he took it up that he had distributed them. So he just signed on the documents that were supposed to be taken straight to the NAD Secretariat for maybe approvals and other administrative actions. As time went by, he had to inspect where these suckers were distributed. So we drove with him. On reaching the places where these suckers were distributed, we found out that the farmers were not given the suckers. He came back straight to Alip. He told him, you said you distributed these suckers, but these farmers are saying they have not received anything. He started calling these farmers one by one.
When asked about the alleged fraudulent deals, Alip said the OWC Lira office is squeaky clean.
As an officer, I don't think I'm able to say anything about that. For us, we work here. Yeah, and we do our part. And we have not had any query here from anywhere, because we worked in a very transparent way.
So when he reported Alip to his boss, his boss told him, why don't you also work the way your fellow friends work? He was kicked off. His voice was lowered. But he insisted on Alip now because he's working closely with him.
There are many stakeholders involved in OWC activities, from audit, stores, office of cow, RDC, politicians, technical people, and this office is only quality assurance. Technical people, a very small component. We have never had any problem or any issue here, and we are working normally. Yeah, so I don't think I have anything to say about that.
Moses Opio, one of the sons to the deceased, told NTV that their dad called him the night before his demise and confessed that he was tired of working with civilians and shared a premonition of his death.
The only thing was, he told us, Bonnie, we are tired. I'm tired of this work. He said working with the civilians is very hard. That was what he was saying. And he was like, I want to leave this work. He was like, working with civilians is very hard. People, there are some colleagues of mine, they are fighting me seriously. They are against me, they are against my work.
During an interview, Opio said that a day before his death, they had a 15-minute telephone conversation in which his father claimed that he was scared for his life. Captain Olaka joined the army in 1990 and served until November 2017 when he retired. The family of late Captain Olaka has implored authorities to sanction a fresh probe into his suspicious death, but no action has been taken. While lifting his body from the scene of crime, police recovered an AK-47 rifle, 3 pieces of cartridges, alongside the alleged suicide note. Records of books and files were perused by a handwriting expert, and these fitted with the text in the suicide note. Investigations into the alleged suicide have uncovered what the family claims to be loopholes in the police's rushed conclusion that the deceased committed suicide. Opio and other members of the family have challenged the police's failure to explain the circumstances of the shooting in which a rifle belonging to the army was used. According to the family, there was no record showing that the gun belonged to the deceased.
They found out that the serial number for the gun that he used was different from the gun that was given to him. You get? So, when they found out that, I don't know how they concluded it with the police, they proceeded home. When they reached home, they started asking the kids who were home. Mainly they started with the boy who was at home, but unfortunately what I heard from one of the clan members was that the team that came concluded that Muzei did not commit suicide, that someone must have assassinated him. That is what I received, the report I received from them.
Whereas witness accounts claim that only one gunshot was heard during the incident, the family is challenging the police's accounts of events. We spoke to Jimmy Patrick Okema, the North Choga Region Police spokesperson, to seek his views about the gun reportedly abandoned at Dokolo CPS by the Chieftaincy of Military Intelligence. He said, and we quote, "There is nothing I can say or share with you because there is no clear finding on that unless you may get to the UPDF over the same. Let the healing wound heal for good. The family members are now forgetting, but you now want to fix this thing back on them. This makes it disturbing for the family. Let us save their peace," he said. Though the wife was at home with the deceased says only one gunshot rang out, the neighbors told NTV during the investigations that 3 holes likely caused by the gunshots had penetrated the iron sheets in the roof.
We are 3. You see that? The bullet that shot Muzee were 3. But I believe that for a person to shoot himself, it takes only 1 bullet for that person to die.
However, their evidence lacks the finesse of a ballistic expert. Another family member who requested not to be named due to the sensitivity of the matter said that while moving the deceased body for a post-mortem, police recovered only 2 cartridges, but returned to search for the 3rd cartridge the following day because the forensic details showed 3 holes in the roof.
I told him he lied on his belly and he was holding his gun. I asked them how many bullets did he use. They told me 3 bullets, and indeed on the roof there were 3 bullets that penetrated through the roof. I again asked them how many sounds of gunshots were heard. They told me it was only 1 sound, implying only 1 bullet was shot, but 3 cartridges were found in there.
A month after the incident, officers from the Chieftains of Military Intelligence CMI reportedly visited the crime scene to probe further. Whereas sources at Dokolo CPS told Daily Monitor that the soldiers revealed that the gun found at the scene of the crime was not assigned to the deceased, the family corroborated this evidence, claiming that the deceased had returned his gun and other military wares to the army.
When they came, their findings with the police, they found out that the gun that was used, that my dad used to commit suicide with, was not the gun that was given to him. So their conclusion was that it could be someone who assassinated him. I don't know the serial number of the gun. I don't remember. I didn't see it, but I know what the CMI concluded. They know the serial number of the gun they had given him, and then the serial number of the gun that they are saying that he committed suicide with. So that difference in the gun and the gun number gives them a suspicion of of the incident.
Further evidence shows that a letter dated July 28, 2020, authored by the OWC Chief Staff Officer, Brigadier F.A. Akiki, and addressed to all OWC regional coordinators and all OWC liaison officers, ordered them to return all combat uniforms, guns and ammunition in their custody. The account by police on the position in which the deceased body was found lying and where other body parts were recovered elicits suspicion. Those casting doubt on this theory, including family members, argue that the rifle would not have remained in the deceased's hand after the shooting. Mr. Okema says police cannot probe this matter any further. In August 2022, another UPDF officer, Captain Clever Bagabe, who was the Operation Wealth Creation Coordinator in charge of Bufumbira South Constituency in Kisoro, southwestern Uganda, reportedly committed suicide.